Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest
down to the queens.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum, and welcome back to Stardom Quest, the best weekly Stardom podcast anywhere in the world. I am, as always, Alex, and I'm joined by Dylan. Hi, Dylan.
Hi, Alex. It is. Oh, and hi, everybody. It's not just me and Alex. You are listening to us right now. Yeah, it's my last week in Chicago, so I will return to the mountains for next episode of Stardom Quest. But before that, I got my big When You Say Riot show, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah. Forgot about that.
Yeah, my voice is a little. It's not as gone as it was the other day, but like it was in rough shape. So no more of that. I'm back to my degenerate basement dweller lifestyle starting next week.
Okay,
So,
good. Because you've been very
yeah.
chaotic this
A little bit,
last few weeks.
a little bit, but you know it happens.
Did you have anything interesting happen? Any tweets go viral over the weekend?
No, but somebody did get very upset with me calling actress girls performers,
Oh yeah.
which is literally their job description. Somebody said that my opinions are worth farts, are as meaningful as farts, and that somebody with my job description should be smarter than this. My job description, of course, being um, the Stardom Quest clock. I don't know what they meant, but yeah. So I had the actress fans help me out with that one, where they're like, "No,
Right.
that is literally what that is." So that was fun.
That's fair.
I know
Yeah.
you, yeah.
No,
Go ahead.
I didn't do anything. I'm an angel. I don't know what you're talking about. Definitely did not pretend Rossy had joined WWE. Um,
Oh yeah, he's booking that NXT Level Up, right?
that was so right. So I thought NXT Level Up would be the giveaway that like this
It
isn't
was.
real, but then I realized most people do not know that NXT Level Up exists. So that just made it more legitimate to them because it had a name. Like the show had a name. It wasn't just, oh, Rossi's joined. I named a show. I think that made it more believable to them. And so it popped off. And we were just kind of laughing at some of the replies that were like, see, Tony was right. He's a double agent. I fucking knew it. And we were just like, yeah, sure thing. Um, and yeah, it was very funny. It was getting retweeted by big accounts, and I eventually had to delete it because the Japanese fans were waking up and were like, "What the fuck's happening?" And I felt really bad because they don't really
Without
deserve that.
yeah, without the context, it definitely does look yeah, so that was very funny. We cooked that up in the group chat and it went kind of ablaze and it was kind of
Mhm.
great. I found that so funny. Love spreading misinformation on the internet. It's one of my
Yeah,
favorite things to do.
because it was Saturday, wasn't it?
Wasn't it Friday?
No, I think it was Saturday. I'm pretty sure I was
Might have been Saturday.
I was away because I'm pretty sure I was at a concert that I didn't want to be at while
Oh
the
yeah,
tweet
yeah,
was
that was
going
the case.
off. Unlike you, I did not get kicked out of the concert. I am, as I
Yeah.
said, an angel. Um, so I was just like at the concert, not really paying much attention, admittedly, and I would just check my Twitter every now and again to see what new things had happened. So yeah, it was a very fun time. Um, but yeah, that was that. As I say, did not get kicked out of the concert, so
Good
I
for
am the
you.
good one. I'm officially the good one of
That's
the
definitely
pair.
not true.
Yeah,
But
it is. You get kicked out of concerts, and I
okay,
don't.
I didn't get kicked out. My friends got kicked out, so I
Well,
joined them.
you associate with degenerates. I don't. So that
Dios
makes me the
mío.
good one.
Okay.
Okay. Um, Head on over to the 5starnetwork.co for all the latest articles and podcasts from around the wonderful world of pro wrestling. I believe there is work starting on a new interview with somebody who was very impressive over WrestleMania week.
Hmm.
I don't know if we're actually going to get it, but I know there's been it's been asked about. And then on the YouTube, on the Five Star Network YouTube, I believe you and Xavier are cooking up a return episode for No Limit Wrestling.
Yes, yes, it is going to be about Wrestle One. It'll be with Smiley, and allegedly, and this is Xavi. Xavi said this. Allegedly, there will be shown footage of Xavi choking me out and Samoa Joe telling him to stop, and him saying, "Okay, my
Okay.
bad." Apparently, that'll happen. I don't know. He's never choked me out, so I guess he's gonna have to gonna have to find me and choke me out and find Samoa Joe to join him.
Yeah,
Whatever that
I
means.
wouldn't put anything past Xavier. I won't lie to you.
He's committed to a bit. Like,
Yeah.
he'll post some connections.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't his dad a wrestler?
Yes.
Yeah, he can do it.
Me
He
him
can
and
fuck
me
you
him
up.
and Scotty watched one of his dad's matches on Thunder. Or
Yeah,
no, it was one of the lower tier WCW shows, even lower than Thunder. Whatever the third
worldwide.
tier. Yeah, it was worldwide. Um we watched a match of his dad's. It was a tag match against um I don't even remember. I think one of the Steiners and somebody that was not the other Steiner. And yeah, it was crazy. I was like, I did not know this. He's like, how did you not know this?
That is one of the first things I learned about Xavier. I feel like we ended up talking about Eddie Guerrero or something, and he was like, "Yeah, no, my dad was a wrestler, and he made me watch Eddie Guerrero tapes," and I was like, "That's fair, honestly."
Dude, he was like a NWA champion or something for like a while.
Really?
Like an NWA Wildside. It was one of like obviously one of the smaller territories, but
Hmm.
he was like a legit NWA champion for a minute.
Wow. All right then. I think that's enough of the banter era or whatever. We have news to
This is the
to go
Triple H
over.
era.
Uh,
Go on.
oh God, that's gonna age so well when he
It
gets like
will.
sent to
It will.
jail. Um, so we have news. We're gonna get into WrestleMania week after because there was like 5 or 6 shows to do there. But I think the most important thing is that Rossy Ogawa, upon his return from America, said that he will hold a press conference within the next week to announce his new promotion. So by this time next week, we should have some idea of what his promotion is, who's involved, and hopefully when they're going to start, because that's kind of what everybody's waiting on at this stage.
Imagine if like Utami just like wasn't involved. Like she's like, nah, I just want to wrestle like Seedling, man. Like I don't like
Maybe.
this whole big thing, and she's just like, nah, actually, I'm just a freelancer now.
Yeah, no, Julia
But yeah,
Julia isn't working with Rossy. She's just like really into the great Muta
yeah,
daughter thing
exactly,
and is on her own.
exactly. By the way, off topic. I know we'll wait. Is Noah new, or did we talk about Noah last week? We did talk about Noah
We
last
didn't
week.
last week yet because
Um,
it's Monday. So
yeah. Oh yeah, Magic Monday. Very off topic, but isn't it kind of funny that like the thing that Noah's doing in their women's division is just Takumi Iroha versus Riko Kawahata? Like that's
yeah.
their big angle, and I was like, that's really funny because like that's like the most common match you could see on any Marvelous show ever. Uh, but yeah, so that will be announced within the week. I thought it was going to be announced later in the month. I was telling you, I was like, I think it'll run sometime between April 20th and the 25th or 26th, around that week.
Hmm.
It's a lot earlier than I expected, but I guess all of their prior dates are finished up this weekend with the Korakuen show.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, might as well get onto it.
Yeah, and obviously the interesting thing with Rossi is, his visit to America was amidst a lot of speculation.
Hmm,
There was a report from Tom Collahue. Now I don't know how reliable he is. I think he's a What Culture guy, maybe. And
name sounds like it.
he was saying that TNA and an unnamed or like unstarted Japanese promotion were going to have talks with WWE over the past weekend. So obviously, there are very few people around who are running unstarted Japanese promotions that were also in Philadelphia, which means that that was likely Rossy Ogawa. And obviously, people got up in arms because he took a picture with Viper. and everybody exploded, and I was like, "This is the most, like, bland thing he could have ever done." Him and
Like
Viper have been friends for
Viper,
years.
like, loves him. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, there are some foreigners who, like, aren't really high like, she has said nothing but great things about
Mhm.
Rossy consistently. So, like, yeah, like, she sees
It
him, it's like,
was
"Hey,
like
it's fucking Rossy."
the Asuka pick was what should have set people off because
Yeah.
that's crazy. Him and Asuka. But yeah, I'd imagine there was talks. I would imagine he listened to WWE, given that he was considering selling to them before selling to Bushiroad. For people who don't know the story, I'd imagine there's a lot of new people. He sold to Bushiroad, but he was fielding offers from WWE first because
Mhm.
they wanted to get into the Japanese market, and it fell apart because he said, "What's your plan with Stardom?" They said, "We don't know, but we can put you in the Hall of Fame." And he said, "No, I don't want that." So this is a guy who I feel like knows his value when it comes to negotiating with WWE and won't just say yes. I think there's a chance he says no, but there's just as big a chance if they say, "Hey, look, we'll give you the freedom if you want to run that match, and you could just let us take Giulia with no like kick up, uh, and that's it. That's the partnership."
Yeah, I think and first of all, I need to get into this little thing I was thinking about the other day. Um, can we stop saying the words NXT Japan? Because it doesn't exist. It will never
Yeah,
exist.
people who
If it does
are
exist, it will crash and burn just as much
Mhm.
as NXT Europe did, because I don't know if you know, NXT Europe doesn't exist. Um, like I'm very tired of that. Like,
Yeah.
and this isn't me defending anybody or anything. It's not me shifting my opinion. I have always been of the opinion that Rossi should not work with WWE. I am still of that opinion. I don't care if he went to Philadelphia and fielded their conversation. That's fine. But I don't want that personally. Especially if it's anything more than like the Noah partnership with WWE, which was just like,
Mhm.
hey, can we use Shinsuke this one time? Like just brother, like that's it. And then that was it, and that was cool. Anything more than that, I would prefer them not do that. But I am very tired of like this idea that NXT Japan is like this real thing we need to be worried about because it's not. Um, like can WWE like, buy a bunch of companies in Japan? Theoretically, sure. But are they going to the point where like they would successfully disrupt the scene? I don't think so. And I think, for as dumb of a business as WWE is, TKO is a little bit smarter. It's still dumb. I don't think they're dumb enough to sink all of this money uh
Japan.
into Japan, where like
Yeah.
there's a very healthy scene, relatively speaking, that is isolationists in comparison to the Europe scene, right? Like,
Mhm.
which would have worked better for them, and they still fucked up. So I don't know. That's my little NXT Japan tirade. It doesn't exist. If it exists, I will eat my fucking shoe. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
also don't
uh,
I don't know if it would even work. I don't know if that televised style of wrestling would even work for a Japanese audience because nobody books like that. And
no.
only like Kaliga Pro did, and they were wrestling in front of 50 people. So I don't know if that style would work, and I think they know that. And also, you're not going to ask Rossy Ogawa to book men. If he is asked to book Katsuhiko Nakajima, he's going to go, "What the fuck is that? Get away from me!" Like, so yeah, I would agree.
He'll be like, wait, y'all don't have any partnerships with Lucha guys? I can't use any.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Rey Mysterio's cool, but like, I don't, otherwise, like, I don't leave. I don't
So
care.
I don't. I think there's a chance he does work with WWE in a similar capacity that GCW or All Japan did, where
Mm,
they get sent a wrestler every now and again. Because Triple H does see this as a negotiating tactic. It's like, well, I'm not using you at the moment, but I don't want you to get unhappy. So do you want to go and just wrestle here for a bit?
yeah,
Because he did it with Chris Hero for a long time. He would send Chris Hero to the Indies when he wasn't really doing much. He did it with Shayna Baszler. She wasn't on
and she had
WrestleMania at all.
she had the best fucking match that she's had in like 5 years.
Yeah, like she's not on WrestleMania at all. And instead of getting annoyed, he's able to say, "Do you want to work this cool indie?" And she says, "Yeah," and that keeps her happy. And Charlie Dempsey obviously got to go to All Japan. So I feel like we're going to see something like that where obviously, Rossy is going to ask for EO and Kyrie, I would imagine, but maybe Triple H is like, look, Carmen Petrovic isn't on our TV. She's getting a bit annoyed. Do you want to work these shows with Rossy? And if she says yes, then she goes over. That's what I would expect the partnership to eventually look like. Because yeah, I don't see them being the predatory Hoover up everybody company anymore. Because that's TKO isn't interested in that. They don't give a shit. You know.
They also have figured out the performance center.
Yes, that too. They don't need women from Japan.
Yeah.
Their performance center is insane for training women. Like they do
Like to
not
the point
need
where
to
like
hoover it up.
I'm looking at the NXT women's roster and the NXT level up women's roster, and you look at this a lot more than I do. And I'm just like, I don't know if they physically can handle this many like solid women
Mm,
on their roster. Like this could be good for other companies if, and God forbid if some of these women left and went to other companies. Like that is how many like good women's wrestlers they have in the performance center and in on NXT and on this and that. So yeah, I mean WWE is still bad. Like
yes.
that's still
They
the
yeah, they
obvious
eventually have to
it.
get something out of this, and that's what's gonna be
Yeah, and that's
the
scary,
worrying
and I
part.
don't like that. But if it's like quite frankly, Utami doesn't want to leave. So who do I care? Like, what do I care, really?
Yeah,
Like,
that's fair. That's fair. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I do feel like a lot of the Rossi talk, and look, we're talking to people who are smart. The majority of people doing the NXT Japan thing, they don't care. They're just trying to score points. They are scorned on behalf of a billionaire, or they are dick riding for TKO. Like they don't give a shit. They're not going to watch it. Um, Most people with a head on their shoulders would expect that this partnership, if it does come to fruition, would just follow what they have in place with the GCWs and the All Japans and technically Noah. Um, so yeah, if it happens, it happens. We'll have to wait and see what it like brews. But yeah, partnerships, I don't like them. I've said this. I said this last week over AEW and Stardom. I'll say it with Rossy and WWE. Somebody has to lose in a lot of cases, and that's where shit gets awkward. Um, and they're just. I feel everybody's better off building themselves up and focusing on their own stuff instead of being able to go, oh hey, can we have EO to draw a number here? It's like no, make your own draws. Like do the work. So that's
see, I
that.
like partnerships, but you are not wrong, just in your fundamental uh, philosophy on that.
Yeah,
I
I think
mean,
short term they're cool, but if you go like 3 or 4
yeah,
years, then I think you run the risk of like burning a lot of people out, and usually just sacrificing your promising wrestlers, basically.
yeah. I mean, and we'll talk about with the Ring of Honor match, and what's going on there. Like, yeah, we'll get into that when we get into that.
Yeah. Now there are a lot of shows over WrestleMania weekend or WrestleMania week because it technically started like on Monday. It was very early. I think H2O
Mm,
was running on Monday, um, and we did go the extra mile. We got somebody in who was there at WrestleMania week who can give us a different perspective because I didn't go. Obviously, I'm from Europe. You didn't go. You're in Chicago. But the person who did go is the notorious, the infamous, trust the plug it is, Plug Pedro.
Hey, hello. Thanks for having me on, guys. So I was at Mania Week. It was a fucked week, I'll say.
There's a fucking
Um,
earthquake.
yeah.
That doesn't
I mean,
happen there.
I was like, where do I fit that in? I don't know the fucking earthquake that I didn't feel, but yeah, that happened. But yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for having me on, guys. If some don't know, I have my own podcast. I am part of the Strong Stylish family. I've been on the network a couple times. Actually, last week I was just on with Peps,
Yep.
and we also did a collab episode last year. So this is my return.
Well, yeah, we did the 5-star show with Strong Salish. I remember that.
Yes. Yes, it was the big. It was like 4 hours of us just shooting the shit. It was one hell of a time.
Yeah, I remember being like, "Dylan, please stop talking. The host has said 2 words." Like, let him speak.
We were
Yeah.
cooking.
Yeah, it was interesting. Um, so Pedro, what I kind of want from you is what we had Velke on for before, is kind of to offer that, perspective on these matches, more so from the live perspective, because I do feel wrestling is very different in attendance as it is on camera. The biggest example being All In last year. All In last year, that main event, if you watched on video, a lot of people said that is the worst match of all time. If you were in that venue, though, it was hype as shit, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's just different. It's a completely different vibe. So I'm always interested in how the wrestling feels different and how the wrestlers themselves project differently. Because I say this as well with Miyu Yamashita. If you've ever seen Miyu Yamashita live, no cameras in the world do justice to just how much charisma she has, like how much physical charisma Miyu Yamashita has. You just don't get it in the same way through the camera as you do in the venue. And
Mm.
so I'm always interested in how the Stardom wrestlers kind of feel in that regard. So hopefully you get where I'm coming from with that. Um, and you can kind of offer something different to what Dylan and I have. Um, I think the first Stardom match of the weekend was on JCW versus the World, if I'm not mistaken.
No, the the Philly shows first.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I was just gonna do that last because it's like the big one.
Oh
And
yeah.
we just do all
Okay,
the
so
like
the
the bit
non-starter.
parts. Yeah, yeah, the non-Stardom stuff. So the first one was on JCW versus the World. It was a JCW Championship match. Masha Slamovich and Siri wrestled to a 30-minute time limit draw. Um, Dylan, did you end up watching this or did you give it a skip?
No.
Okay.
It's 30
Um,
minutes in JCW, man. Come on, I
That's
can't do
fair.
that.
That's fair. I watched it earlier, and it's good, but it definitely was lacking. I think they mic'd it up really badly as well. The crowd doesn't seem into it, but I have been told that like in the venue, the crowd was hot for it. So, like it was definitely just they were clearly going 30 from almost the start of the match, and at no point did I feel like we're getting close to a finish. It was just them doing moves to fill time, and the moves were good because they're both good wrestlers, but it was very hard to get into as an overall match. But I don't know how that felt in the venue. So Pedro, maybe you have a more enlightened take there.
All right, so I'll start my day off with this. So as we walked in, it is midnight. It is a midnight show.
Hmm.
After I don't know how much shows people have been to, maybe 4 or 3 that same day. I definitely was at 2 shows before this. We'll talk about those later. We'll talk about one later at least. But I was expecting this to main event. I'm not gonna lie. I was expecting to be there till 3 a.m. and suffering through the rest of whatever this card was. Which honestly, it wasn't a bad card, but in reality, after so much shows, people being tired, drunk, or like I don't know, just not as riled up as DDT was that same day, and whatever else show was on that day. I think it was might have been like Defy or Progress that same day. Um, I was expecting this is the main event, and then in the middle of the card, it shows up, and I'm like, okay, I might be able to get out of here by by the middle of the show because this is really what I wanted to watch. And Alex, you were right from the jump. I could tell this was going 30. They After every move, it was basically a pin. Basically, they didn't pull out their big stuff either. I think there was legit, I think 5 minutes of work that was very much worth it to watch. Um, But honestly, I see people rate this high, and I wasn't so high on it. Probably because I was tired, dying, and my camera was broken for like a good 10 minutes. So I was very. It wasn't the best match, I would say, for me at least. And I think we've all seen a million fucking draws that go 30, 40, 60 for that matter. And honestly, this wasn't as bad, but
Mm.
not my match of the week for sure.
Yeah, I think the thing with Shuri, it's a very common pitfall for her and Giulia, are that these draws just feel like they're wrestling endlessly. Or I call it wrestling in circles very often, and it becomes very frustrating because it's just like, okay, so are we ever gonna like do something a little bit? No? Okay. And then it just ends
Mhm.
without any satisfying finish. I think that like draws can be very satisfying. I wish, and I didn't watch this, but I wish this match would have gone to a double knockout. I think they could have ran that very well, and they could have cut down the time a little bit. I also think it like, excuse me, it makes sense for both of the wrestlers because they're both kind of like, um, they're looking for that, right? Like they're both types of wrestlers who have moves that really easily could lead to a knockout. I kind of wish they ran that instead, but it a 30-minute like I said, I didn't want to watch it because it's like 30 minutes at midnight in Philly. Even Shuri and Masha can't really overcome that for me. That's just a terrible setting for a wrestling match. For me personally, I just wasn't interested. I
Yeah,
mean, was
we
this in Jersey or was it in Philly?
No, this was Philly. Yeah, this was at the
really.
Penn's Landing.
Because I
Jada.
know there was like one or two shows that were up in Jersey over the week. I was like, what? I know it's close, but that's a bit.
Yeah, everything was basically like from where I was. It was basically like a 20-minute drive to everything. And
Mm,
if you're at Penn's Landing already, you might as well stay there because there's a show like 2 hours later, an hour later.
yeah.
So
Why do they run so much? That's what I want to know. Um, yeah,
it's
that.
collective. It's collective, so they have to like.
Oh yeah,
It's different people like running in the same area, but it's basically GCW helping with everything. And to be fair to them, I know we give GCW like a lot of shit, and for what the cards have looked like in the past, it's not a great show, but they take care of everything. Everything is like compact, and they try to not make shit so wild in there. Um, so I'll give it up to them for that. But yeah, this midnight show, most of the midnight shows, they're just not for me.
I get that.
yeah. I can't imagine like watching wrestling live when I'm super tired. It's I
Yeah,
feel like I'd be so dead even if there was a great match. So I feel like that might have hurt this one because people were tired. If you're at like 4 shows before this as well, you're just burnt out, you know. So
yeah,
but it was definitely like a good match. Now I will say it was probably one of the better GCW/JCW matches of the weekend. But I certainly won't be fact checking that. I have no interest in in subjecting myself to that.
yeah,
Um, we then had I hope I'm not missing anything. We had 0 hour for Ring of Honor's Supercard of Honor. We had Mariah May beating Momo Kogo in 6 minutes. So this is a pretty late announcement, pretty late addition to the card. And I thought it was good. Momo Kogo is one of the few Joshi wrestlers who seems just built for American wrestling. Like
Yeah.
her high spots tend to pop that crowd a lot more. I think because she's got that actress background. She's very good at projecting herself to these bigger venues. She just really fits with America, and I think if she was just a little bit younger, she'd probably have a contract sent her way already by AEW. But she's probably just a little bit too old for them to bother. So yeah, I thought this was good. Were you at this one as well, Pedro?
yeah. Uh, like I'm kind of sad I didn't meet to get to talk to Kogo about like any of the stuff she did during the week. Um, but I always praise her because I think she's like very much underrated, especially when she's in America for some
Hmm.
She's got
godforsaken
a
reason.
buff, man. She's got a
She,
USA buff.
I think for her the American cameras and just everything about it just I think makes her want more. I don't know what it is. And like when we watch her on house shows and we watch her on pay-per-views, we're like, "Okay, yeah, she's good." But she doesn't have that like special, you know, thing about her that like we look at stars, the rest of stars and we're just like, "Oh yeah, Hanan has it, Mayu has it." And like Coco obviously has it, but she's not, number 1. But man, when she's out there wrestling like in America, like on like just on any type of like other show, I just feel like she's just incredible. And like you said, the actress thing, I think I tweeted out like I hope she understands and knows that like a lot of fans are behind her, especially because she has that small niche of market to play with because she knows a bit of English and she kind of interacts with fans a little more.
Mm.
Mm,
And like I think she knows where where her pocket of fans and where her appeal comes from, and I give it up to her all the time. She's one of my favorites from like way back when in Acra. So and then Mariah May, we know who she is. She's
Yeah.
great.
How does how charismatic are they like in the venue? Because I feel like Mariah really jumps off the page.
Yeah, like so at WrestleCon she was in the middle of the goddamn fucking like floor with like next to next to Arn Anderson and like Scott Steiner or something stupid.
God.
And
That's a trio. That's a trio.
yeah. So when I didn't get to meet her either. I didn't want to bother honestly, but um her overall just like she's very contagious, like honestly. She's and as a wrestler, I know how like actually insane of a performer she is because of all the pay-per-views we've watched and stuff. But like she's just a great wrestler, and I think she's honestly way better than like that whole roster. And yeah, like she's great. I think Kogo comes off a lot better though, because
Yeah.
she's I think she's honestly just really great. And honestly, the worst part was the song thing. Like they didn't give
Oh
her
yeah.
the goddamn song, or they didn't like try to give it to us and then mute it on stream or whatever. Like they just gave us a generic theme, which sucks.
That sucks
That's weird.
because
I
her
don't
theme
know.
is so good. Like she has
Yeah.
one of the better themes
Strange they
I
had
heard.
other ones, but not hers.
Yeah, I think it's a licensed song by like
Oh,
one of
I see.
the companies, if I remember right. Because she's had it for a good bit, so we might have to like dig in the files for that. But yeah, yeah. Honestly, it was a fun match. It wasn't much, but it was definitely the 0 hour show. The 0 hour match I definitely wanted to check out.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Because I think as well, like Mariah works very well against Momokogo's style. So it definitely was one that when it was announced, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be good. And then it was good.
It also had the story behind it, right? Like it's been a thing
Yeah,
for a long time.
Venus kind of terrorized her a little bit last year, so it was very different. Um, I suppose then the main kind of attraction was on Supercard of Honor. We had a special trios match where the team of Maika, Mina Shirakawa, and Mei Sarah beat Azumi, Saya Kamatani, and Tam Nakano. Maika actually got the win over Saya in this one, which
No, it was
Dylan.
Mina over Saya.
Oh, it was Mina. All right, yeah, geez, that's even better. So Saya taking falls is kind of interesting. Um,
Well, this is where it kind of starts with the partnership thing, is that
mhm,
it's very clear that there's one wrestler that Tony Khan really likes,
yes, maybe
and
two.
that uh, kind of, but yeah. Uh, hope Actually, hopefully not. Let's keep your
You
filthy
better
paws
cope,
away from
buddy.
the other one. Yeah.
That's
Um.
fair.
Yeah, but there's that he really likes Mina, and so how do you protect Mina? Like it's very possible that Mina shows up on fucking Dynamite tonight, tomorrow, but when this comes out tonight, I wouldn't say it's like unlikely or anything. So how do you do that? You end up having her go over Sai Kamitani. She got it with the Glam collection, so it's not
Mhm.
like she just straight up beat the fuck out of her and won. But I do think that's an interesting thing where it's like, okay, while Mina did beat Saya last year, the pecking order one would presume right now would be Saya either like on par or like a little bit above Mina, but she just lost. So I think that's interesting how it will, like as we continue, how Tony Khan views the Stardom roster in comparison to how Taro Okada views the Stardom roster in comparison to how uh us as fans view the Stardom roster, right? Because now all three of those things matter.
Well,
Once upon a
the
time
thing
it
with
didn't really
Saya,
matter at all.
Saya also took that fall to Momo. So I don't know if the new guy just doesn't like her and she's
He,
being moved down,
he's just sending
or
her to fucking catch the wave.
that's true actually. Yeah, that's very
That's
fair.
something that we
I
didn't.
don't.
That's a news bit. That
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have to get to that. Yeah, like, I don't know if he's moving her down or if they know she's leaving and are like beating her like a drum on the way out. But I don't know. That would be weird. Why would when would her contract be up then if not at the same time as everybody else's?
No.
So Saya is very interesting. I don't know if they're doing it to set up Azumi being like, "Hey, I want to be the leader now. You're shit at the moment," or what the story is there. But it's definitely kind of intriguing to me. The match anyway was really good. Some people had it as like a 4.5 star match, which is pretty crazy to me. But go off, king, or queen, or royalty of unspecified gender. Um,
Regal human beings.
yeah. But yeah, I thought it was a really good match. It was kind of everything we thought it would be, where every pairing they went with was really good. They didn't do as much Azumi and May as I thought.
That was my big thing. I was just like, I feel like that's like your ace in the hole in
Hmm.
terms of just like hype wrestling, and they just
Yeah.
didn't really do much of any of it outside of like a minute and a half in the first 5
No.
minutes of the
But
match.
then they kind of just did a mini Mina versus Saya singles match of the second half, and that's
Mm.
pretty beast. Like they're
It
two
was good.
people who you want to show off as best as you can, because they definitely got big reactions out of the crowd, which is kind of a nice indicator that
The
this
crowd liked it a lot.
it did, yeah. And I we'll obviously turn it over to Pedro in a sec. But I mean, I thought this was really good. They got reactions from the crowd. It was kind of the best advertisement of what Stardom is for new fans, and I wish we were able to like poll new fans and be like, "What did you think of this match?" But I'd imagine a lot of people who are getting their first taste of Stardom really enjoyed it. But yeah, Pedro, like, how does this one come off live? Like, was it much better live? Was it a little bit worse, or like how did it come off?
All right, so we had to have this conversation first before we start.
Oh my.
They called May Sarah what? It was like My Sarah,
Oh,
and then we
dude,
had
it sounded like
Maya.
Miley Cyrus. It was almost Miley Cyrus. I was like, "How do you manage that?"
Your world champion is called Maya.
That
That's
was
That
good,
was
yeah.
great. No, he
that's what
corrected
he
that
said.
once she won. He like highly enunciated the
Emphasis.
K. Yeah, my God. Like he was like, yeah, he was like, my bad, y'all.
It's crazy.
Yeah, like as soon as they made their entrance, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be sick. And then I heard that, I'm like, oh, all right. I guess our jobs are. I guess we're not doing our job tonight. But yeah,
To be fair, I will say, and you were at the shows, so you didn't hear it. Commentary kept calling Tam
Tom.
Tom.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah,
about that.
and
There's a
and
lot of bad commentary over the week.
but to be fair, I think that like mispronouncing names is pretty fine. And Tam is technically pronounced Tamu, so it's like Tamu. Like it's not that far off. I mean, is closer to what like it would be pronounced as, but it, I compared it and I texted you, Alex. I compare it to Medusa during the Hall of Fame kept calling Bull Buru, and I
Mm,
was like, your accent, you don't have to do that. I'm gonna be real. Like it just doesn't sound right. I know you're trying to say it like correctly or respectfully, but it's just that's just not what you are meant to call her.
yeah,
So
I
I think that's the thing with Tom is that it's like technically Tamu is like that's the pronunciation, but
mhm.
just call her Tam. You know what I mean?
I feel like Tom is fine. It's my Syra that really. It's like that is not even
Yeah,
partially close. Like that is almost disrespectful because I think names are and getting people's names right is just a basic respect thing. I feel like
you want to know
if I said
something,
somebody's name wrong, I would correct it immediately because I respect you as a person to
but
call you by
but
the right name.
and this is something that's happened for decades. People who call Mako Miko,
That's true, actually. Yeah.
it's just a completely different name.
Mm,
It's Mako, and you do that. Like that's what I mean is that's like there's a certain there's a certain sense of just that's like yeah, but like to
I
some
don't know.
degree it's like yeah, I think yeah the My Syra was rough,
Yeah.
obviously, but I do think that there are levels to it where it's yeah, but if she comes back, I'm sure they will be very clear to pronounce it correctly. I mean, Sunny pronounces or like who pronounces Utami's name super wrong? There are people who just like do it like they just like have been like ring announcers and commentators and they just don't do it right. You know what I mean? Like there's a I don't know. I'm a bit more forgiving just in general, but I did want to kind of have that conversation. Is that uh, it is funny how wrong some of the pronunciations were,
Yeah.
but I also don't think it was like as big of a deal as some people were making it out to be.
I
No,
just love
fair enough.
Micah's reaction. Micah was like,
Like, oh,
"Oh, well,
yeah,
fuck."
that's. I think that's me. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe.
It was no, but yeah, like the honestly, I watched every Stardom match at a like at I used my brain and I'm like, okay, this is kind of just like the house show I watched a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
but in front of an ROH crowd, and they put a lot more effort in for sure, but like I always viewed these as just like, hey,
Hmm.
this could have happened like last week on a
It
different
was
show.
it was a high end house show tag.
Yeah,
Uh,
Yeah.
for sure.
is where I kind of had it. Azumi's new gear looks great. It's a year in the
Oh yeah,
making.
it's fantastic.
They drew that up a year ago, and I legit texted Scott a year ago. I was like, "Oh, it looks like Azumi's gonna get new gear. This is what it looks like." And then she never used it until Ring of Honor. I was like, "Holy shit, that's the gear! That's the gear I talked about a year ago." Because I keep tabs on that sort of shit. Because you know,
Of
I'm a little,
course.
I like gear. Um, but yeah, I thought this match was like a lot of fun. There was a contingent of people who of Joshi fans, especially retro Joshi fans, who were kind of like, "Oh, these are some aspects
Oh,
of the
Dylan, please don't. Please.
I know.
We
It'll
shouldn't
be
do
it'll be
this.
quick. I know.
Oh
Uh
But
no.
oh.
that certain aspects of the house style of Stardom were kind of more noticeable here than they are on like the typical show.
Yeah.
Uh and I kind of like I got that and like I kind of agreed with that, not to the point where it ruined the match for me, but uh just like some of it breaking down very quickly was very noticeable. I was like, definitely could have given it a few more minutes of just like, just more stuff before it breaks
Hmm.
down. But I enjoyed it. Um yeah, I was happy it happened. I'm happy the crowd reacted well. I mean, Pedro, you were there. The crowd was pretty hot for this. Am I right?
Um, yeah, like in terms of like overall crowd, like I think they loved it. I think this is probably the more over match on the show actually compared
Mm,
to like, Johnny TV and wherever the fuck that was and all those other matches that had like a mixed reaction. In terms of like every match it was pretty fun, but like you could tell at some points that we were like during the whole show, not this just match. During the show it was just like, okay, let's get on with this shit already. But this match, it was great. Like the reaction for like them was like so crazy. Like there was a Mina fan in front of me, just just yelling just for her. And again, that goes to Dylan's point of just because obviously they're going with her as
Mm.
like their
the Stardom girl.
yeah their kind of first push for one because I mean if we'll talk about it later, but it seems like she's getting a match on one of the TV shows for sure. Um, But okay, this is where I get annoyed because I seen this conversation on Twitter also, where these fans don't know a lick of shit on how they structure their matches. And
Yeah.
behind me, there was at least a row of fans that did not understand why, when these girls are not tagged in and aren't legal in the match, that why do they get to grab and
Yeah.
stop others from getting tagged and like not working like the ropes or whatever and shit. That had me so fucking annoyed this whole goddamn match that they complained about every single thing
That would be
the
so
the
annoying to go to
ref
a
was.
show and have motherfuckers be like, just like critiquing like this one small aspect of the match and us not stopping. Sorry for
and I
interrupting. That's
and I
funny.
can understand what kind of fan they were. Like as soon as like they started talking because they were yelling dirty moves. It was obviously a very dirty crowd that only went to this show and WrestleMania. I like honestly say that like they did not understand a lick of shit of the structure they were doing, um, and also just complaining about the ref on not stopping people from running in. Like that's not possible. Do we not
That's
understand? Do we not see that if we're gonna have like six women in a match and we're just gonna have them sit on the rope, no one's gonna do that. I'm sorry, like I'm way too used to these type of matches where we're actually stopping people from like jumping in and like trying to
It's
get
just not the meta.
pinfalls and working the submission. That had me so aggravated the whole goddamn match. And I legit wanted to like move from my seat so bad.
Oh my god.
But yeah, but like it wasn't as bad, but I'm just kind of over exaggerating. But yeah, like obviously from my area you could tell like these people have never watched the Stardom house show. And I mean I don't
Yeah.
blame them, but I also am like, okay, like we're in a different crowd, I understand. We're in a different place. So I'll let it slide. But yeah, like that whole thing was just really annoying. And I seen it on Twitter too happen, and I'm just like, why are we having this conversation?
Yeah. As a Mina fan, I must ask, how charismatic is she in the venue? Does it translate when you're there?
I think equally they're all pretty over, and you can
Yeah.
see like there's a lot more Tam fans obviously because she's a bigger star.
Mm.
Mina obviously has that different market, so she was probably the more so cheered. I wouldn't say over, but she was the most cheered. I think Azumi has the most hype on her. I think Saya and maybe Micah are on like the lower,
Mm.
just in that arena. I would say just in that ROH, like way, like where, like obviously, like Micah's champion, but is she like the most over, and does she have like the American market? Kind of not. I would say Saya kind of doesn't either, but I think all of them equally are very much like everyone wanted to cheer for them and stuff. So,
Okay.
but yeah, obviously Mina's has been on the show before, so they're gonna like her.
Yeah, well, I was just kind of wondering, like, does she come off like a star kind of in the venue? Because when I watch her on screen, I'm like, this is the biggest star ever.
Oh
She's so
yeah,
she's so charismatic. Like, does that translate when she's doing the dance in the
oh
venue?
yeah. The
Yeah.
dancing to like just her with like just how she walks out, just everything, the way she plays up the crowd. Like yeah, she's
She's
a
got it.
star. Yeah,
That's
but
all I needed. That's all I
He, he
needed.
he just he just
you,
wanted
you
some
just you just
reassurance.
yeah, I'm about to say you just want to hear it from someone else's mouth that she's a star.
Okay, but for real, Pedro. So Azumi, no, we don't get
That's the goat.
Oh no,
you ain't
can't be
wrong.
doing this.
You ain't wrong.
All right. Well, speaking of Azumi, actually, she's in the next match we're going to talk about because it was from Spark Trailblaze,
Hmm.
one of the weirder shows of the weekend. So Azumi beat Danny Mo and Kyoko Inoue in 8 minutes. This felt like it was for the live crowd. There was a lot of comedy, a lot of "Hey, cheer for me! Hey, cheer for Kyoko!" and then they would like wrestle a little bit. So I don't know. This felt like it was for the live crowd only, really.
I thought it was pretty funny. Like I
It
didn't think it was
was
a good
alright.
match by
Like,
any means, but I thought that like it worked around Kyoko Inoue pretty well. Where it's like
yeah,
Azumi was like, hey, yo, we're Japanese. Let's beat this chick up. And Danny Mo walked in, and then Azumi like pushed her, like, hey, get out. There's a private meeting. She's like, I'm a. And I found some of it funny. I thought that the match itself was, it wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. So
yeah,
I didn't really mind it, but I thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was very much like, honestly, when you see these names and you're like, okay, I don't think a insanely great match will come out of this, but they
mm,
played it up. I think it's again, I think Zumi's like a superstar. So like when she walked in, she obviously the bigger name in the match, this match at least. I mean, people love Kyoko, but a lot of the fans were more so here for the Stardom representation and all that. Um, but yeah, it was just like a little funny match. It wasn't amazing, but I think it's the best possible match they could have done.
Hmm.
In
maybe
reality, so
probably. I feel like I would have moved Kyoko into something else.
oh yeah, in terms
Because
of cards, yeah, I would move people, but I mean,
yeah,
if they're gonna have this match, they had
They
the
did it
match,
to the best
and
of
it
their
was fine.
abilities.
Yeah,
yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, once the live crowd liked it, I think that's really the main thing. Doesn't really matter what
I think that's the big
I
thing about
think.
Spark is that it seems like it would be pretty fun to go to live.
Mm.
But like watching it on, TV or on your computer is just not something I want to do much at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's fair. The match after that, then, this is the one that I was very into. Jada Stone. I hope I'm saying that right. Is it Jada
Jada.
or Jada? Jada. Okay,
Jada.
sorry. Jada Stone and Mayu Iwatani beat Konami and Maya World in 10 minutes. Yeah, last week, I believe on the show, I was like, if they get Maya World in there, we're gold. And then they got Maya World and they got Jada Stone, who I hadn't actually seen before. She's one of the few American women's wrestlers that I haven't seen.
She's very good.
But yeah, she was on the For the Culture show. They did a big scramble, and she was like one of the standouts. And
Apparently, she's been on DPW,
oh
which I feel like I would have known, but I just
yeah,
didn't.
DPW has such great scouting for women. I gotta say,
Yeah.
they book a lot of the women who I would be like, oh, she's really good. Because I remember they got Promise Braxton as well, and I was
Yes.
like, they just know it. And Rachel Rose was one of their
First world
first main
champion.
women. Yeah,
She was the
so
first world champion.
those DPW guys, they've got pretty solid women scouting. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I thought the Maya World exchanges were really good. I thought they worked around Jada Stone having such a different style really well because Jada Stone is a very athletic, like really good high flyer, and obviously her teaming with Mayu kind of took out the main high flyer to work with.
Mm.
But she was able to kind of slow it down to work with Konami pretty well. I know Konami didn't really catch her on her big dive, but Maya was there to save the day. Um, yeah, I thought this was a really good match. I thought both Jada and Maya came away looking really good. Mayu was awesome because she's Mayu and she was very generous as well. I felt throughout the match to let the other women kind of really shine. So yeah, I enjoyed this. I liked it a lot.
Alex, I just found a match you're gonna want to see.
Oh, lay it on me.
They ran Zara Zacher against Jada Stone on the most recent LA Dojo show.
Oh yeah, I was told about that actually. Yeah, I
Or
must watch that.
most
Zara
recent? Might have
Zucker,
been the most
dude,
recent. Yeah,
did
you
you
love
see
her.
her? Dude, she was on the
I haven't seen
TJPW
much of
show.
her.
She was awesome. Her and Arisa Endo were going crazy. Oh, it was so good.
That's real. But yeah,
Um,
on the most recent Academy show, they
that's
ran that.
good. That LA Dojo
10
is
plus
is really
minutes
good
too.
as
Like
well.
that's the yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of the
Um
match, Dylan? Did you watch this at
oh
all?
yeah, I
Watch
liked it
it?
a lot. I thought
Okay.
this match was very good. It was definitely the best match I saw on the show. Um just because it just felt very seamless. Like that's something that is interesting when you watch like non-Japanese wrestlers against Joshi wrestlers, is
Hmm.
that it's like um some of them look actively out of their depths, like quite frankly. And this happens both ways, but it's just more often to happen from like, Western wrestlers to Japanese wrestlers. Maya World especially looked like she just fit in like a glove against Mayu,
Yes.
which is
Hmm.
not something that like comes easy. You know what I mean? Like, for as tremendous as Mayu is, she isn't someone who's gonna hold your hand. Um,
Yeah.
like I would always say Kagetsu, he would hold your hand. If you were actively worse than he was, he would like he would hold. That's why B Priestley's best match is against Kagetsu. Tony
Yeah.
Storm's best match against Kagetsu. Like because you know what I mean. Mayu isn't really like that. So Maya World just fully like going full at it against her and like really like working and it being seamless, that tells me that like we need to get her to Japan yesterday. You
Oh
know what
my
I
God,
mean?
dude.
Like
If
she's
she,
very good.
if Mayu isn't pulling every string possible to get her to any Japanese
Mm.
promotion, that like I'm at a loss. Like this is a woman
And
who
then
has the world at her feet, like this, like women's wrestling will belong to the Maya worlds before long. It's only a couple of years away. Because yeah, she kept up with one of the best wrestlers of all time. I think we're firmly in that
yeah,
category with Mayu now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Mayu is an all timer. For you to keep up with her like this, and I'm pretty sure Maya is only a year or two in, like at most, like that's insane. So yeah, she deserves a lot of credit. I think Jada Stone deserves credit as well for
oh
working
definitely.
a bit out of her element as well. I mean, as I said, like it's not easy for a high flyer like that to work with Konami, who's a technician at heart, and I thought she did it quite well. Um, so yeah, this was the match that I was interested in because it was a chance to learn something and also see Mayu be Mayu. And I think if we're gonna get more stardom wrestlers in America, I hope it's more stuff like this where it's like, hey, here's these like cool young wrestlers who are gonna carry the torch, and we're gonna see how they match up against some of the best in Japan. I really like that sort of stuff.
So what you're saying is we need Shimmer back.
Yes, basically, please, for the love of God. I need Prazak and Alice in Danger to get back to booking shit. Like this is not fun. But yeah, Pedro, how did this one come off? Had you seen My World before, or Jada?
All right. So background. Jada was a part of the first Gong Rumble at Kitsune. Obviously a shitty place to put her. We didn't get to see a lot of her like actual like attributes and like how good she was. But I could tell she's very athletic. She definitely lays her shit in.
Mm.
And I was kind of interested. I was like, okay, if she's on this card, I get to see her again. I think she's gonna do well. And then Maya, obviously there's a kind of in our circle. I feel like we had some hype on her in terms of like what work she was doing before. Like I think she had that Athena match
Yeah.
on ROH a while ago. So and then also me and Mr. Hart editing of bodyslam.net, he was also hyping her up a lot to everyone in the in the arena itself. Yeah, and then me and Maya also I got to talk to her for like just a little bit before the match. And I was just telling her like how actually excited I am for this match because honestly, if you look at this card, this match seemed the most interesting, and
Yeah.
it looked like it could be the best match on the show, maybe on the weekend if they were able to like actually throw out their shit. And so this match happened, and goddamn, I have honestly like legit. This is my like top 5 match of the weekend, and just
Wow.
how just like how much they gelled. Like we didn't know how well they were all gonna gel. Obviously, Mayu Konami, they've had matches for what I don't know together for like what years and years.
Yeah.
So that's obvious. But Jada and Maya are friends, kayfabe. So you can see where maybe they talked to themselves and talked to them and said, "Hey, let's put on the best match possible here. Let's showcase the two girls." And I think they brought their shit, and I think they did the as best possible as they could, and then ending with Maya and I think Mayu was the end of it.
Yeah.
Was really good. Like I was legit gonna go up to Taro, like in the corner of the damn arena, and ask him, "Hey, put these girls on a flight, get them visas, get them over, because I need more of this."
Honestly, yeah.
He's got a direct line to Taro. I love that.
We need
Like,
it.
hey,
Somebody
I
needs
see
it.
you. I see you. I see you back there.
Somebody has to start beating Nagayo to these foreign wrestlers. Okay, Marvelous
Yeah.
cannot keep getting everybody. We got to start getting the top wrestlers into these big promotions. So yeah, I would agree with all that. It was a really good match. Me and Hart definitely. It's like I remember saying to him, I was like, "Oh, this My World Girl is cool." He's like, "Oh my god, I love her so much." And I was talking about the Zara Zakher match. He was like, "They're both so good." Uh, Hart loves his women's wrestling. He's a good fella. And yeah, that match definitely delivered. Get Maya World to Japan. Get Jada Stone to Japan as well, please. Let's get on it. The next match then was Aja Kong and Tam Nakano beating Janai Kai and Mina Shirakawa in 13 minutes. Still very unsure what I thought about this one. It was kind of all over the shop in some ways. Like they started with comedy, then there was Mina and Tam, then Aja just kind of beat up Mina. Then Janai finally got in, and it was just kind of Janai until the end with Aja. It was like mostly okay, I think. I've definitely seen better performances from Aja. I feel like there's other matches that I've seen with her that have hid her weaknesses a lot better than this one.
Yeah.
But there was enough like interesting new stuff to kind of keep it going. Like obviously the Aja and Tam doing the cute pose thing was funny and stuff like that.
I found this generally bland.
Mm.
Like I don't know. I felt like all
Yeah,
four of
this
them
is
could have
not a
done better.
Dylan match. This is not a Dylan
No,
match
it's
at
not.
No,
all.
It's
not
not.
at all.
I love modern day Aja Kong against the right wrestlers, but when she's up there against the wrong wrestler, it's painful to watch, quite frankly. I say this as someone who's like I've rated her matches like, you know, very highly, like against Dash last year, or even her Wakana one. I loved that one. It just didn't feel like it catered to Aja very
Mm,
well. I don't think this catered to Janai either. Tam and Mina is like a tried and true, but like even
yeah,
then, it's like, you know,
been there, done that.
I've seen a lot of Tam Mina. This wasn't like especially good, like it was pretty middle of the line for them. So nothing really like stood out to me from this match. I almost started falling asleep when I was watching. I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit tired. Uh, it wasn't bad. I mean, the other match, like let's be frank, the two Sumi Sakai matches, way worse. But it wasn't my cup of tea. I have it roughly around the same level as I had the Kyoko triple threat match,
Hmm.
because that one I kind of found funny, but ultimately the work failed it. This one, I just felt like it was very, like I said, kind of bland. It was aggressively fine.
Yeah, I think it was honestly there just for the pop, and having
Yeah,
Tam and Aja next to each other was just kind of insane. Like in the middle of fucking New Jersey and shit. It's kind of like it's kind of a like wild thing. Okay, so I forgot to point this out earlier. So like if in 10 years maybe people are still Stardom fans or whatever, or fans of certain wrestlers, you go look at their cage match and you see these fucking matches on a show in New Jersey, that would be the most ridiculous shit in their brain
yeah.
to them. So like them seeing like Azumi and Kyoko, Tam and Aja, and in these like fucking insane with the weird matches, just like going back to them would be like so funny.
I mean,
so like
that one marvelous match that was like Aroha and Young Boy Evil tagging together from like 20, like what,
In
2015 or
CZW?
something like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, where it's
Yeah.
like, wait, what? Why the fuck? Uh, but yeah, so
Yeah, when Maya World is like the best women's wrestler in America in 5 years, we'll look back on the fact that she shared a ring with Mayu Iwatani and be like, holy shit.
yeah,
you'd be like,
no, yeah,
this is the
exactly.
one.
Or yeah, we've known since 2024, but yeah.
Yeah.
But go on, Pedro.
Right.
No, but yeah, the match was very much whatever. Again, I just think it was there to play the crowd, and I think they played it well. And then Aja just hitting Janai in the end to win it was just it was pretty much for the pops and shit. So
Yeah, it felt like another one that was for the live crowd, which I think a lot of
Mhm.
Aja stuff when she's not in Japan is very much for the live crowd. Because I saw her at Eve once and she like wrestled Viper, and it was very much like she's doing the stuff to just pop the audience. She didn't care about having a good match there. She's kind of just playing to the fans that are new to her. So I feel like this is maybe just Aja's international mode a bit more.
yeah, it was just very much her just doing what she has to because
Yeah,
I
just having
think
fun.
I think on Saturday night she was also in I think
She
Oh,
was in the
the
clusterfuck.
clusterfuck.
yeah,
Yeah,
she was in the clusterfuck, which I made so much fucking tweets about because it was so
yeah.
fucking hilarious and so bad. But she was in the clusterfuck, and she just got in, she herkined the chicken, and then she left. Basically,
That is insane. That is what American wrestling is so cooked sometimes.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
don't, I question it a lot.
uh, I had questions seeing a guy take his shirt off 3 times, and it was the same shirt under the shirt,
Oh,
and Cheeton go in there, and Microman and Nick. Yeah, it was a fuck match, I'll say.
fair enough. It sounds interesting. The Starlight Kid segment on this show ended up being so weird. Sumi
Well,
Sakai
did you
beat.
watch the Billy match?
No, I didn't.
It was worse. It was a
Okay,
lot worse.
that makes
Okay,
sense.
so I have to give some background. All right,
Right.
so
Please.
if we're gonna move on to the Starlight Kids section. All right, so I think at this point Billy Starks has wrestled, oh fuck, like at least 8 matches or 7 matches. We would probably
Yeah.
have to look at her cage match, but she
Including one where
definitely.
she sold her neck being broken.
Oh, oh, yeah, yeah. But she wrestled a lot. I think on that weekend, from what I remembered. 1, 2, 3, 4. So she wrestled 4 matches before that. All pretty like actually heavily worked match because she had one with like Mao and like obviously she had that one with Aminata, I think, on that Friday show for ROH. So from what I was hearing is that her knee was kind of like fucked by that show, by the Spark show. And
So she just didn't wrestle.
so I remember if you just watch this match back, not a lot happens. They wrestle for like a good 2-3 minutes, and then all the fuckery happens where was it a belt shot or something?
No,
The Eddie Guerrero spot.
she
The Eddie
did
Guerrero
the
spot.
Guerrero, yeah, and lost the belt off of it, which is just so
Yeah,
bad.
and like
Strange.
a lot of the crowd didn't care really. It was just like, oh, like what the fuck is going on? It was just like
Like
what questions?
Yeah.
Billy versus Sumi was like a bottom 2 match of the weekend for me that I saw, and the other one was the Usos. So
Wow.
bad company.
So
Yeah.
and then the X comes out, or what was supposed to be a Starlight Kid versus X match turned into Starlight Kid running in and winning a belt, John Cena on Rey Mysterio style,
Yeah.
basically.
In 3 minutes. Less than 3
Yeah.
minutes.
Which I was like, okay, maybe Sumi wanted this match, and it will go like a good 10 minutes of just high speed
Didn't
fuckery.
Sumi retire?
Yeah.
Nah.
But in fairness, Chikayo Nagashima also retired, and I think she's been tag champion in Marvelous ever since. So
And
Well, she lost it like a couple months ago, but yeah, you're right.
yeah, Magenta.
And then she won
Magenta
the world
season.
title.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, she's won more belts since retiring than she did before. It's pretty
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, that so I mean that means Starlight Kid is going to be on the next Spark show,
Not
but
necessarily.
they're in Japan next for
Yeah.
Colors.
Oh, yeah.
So
That.
is she just going to work their show in Japan?
so
Or
I'm from what I've kind of gathered from being at those shows is that obviously Saki and the promoter or founder CB are like close.
yeah.
I think she wants to give Saki a platform. So obviously they're doing the Colors X Spark thing.
Mhm.
And I forgot the date on it. I had a photo of it and everything, but
June 5th maybe? June?
yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
So I would hope they put Kid on that show because that's an easy grab,
Yeah.
and there's the world champion now. So I would hope they could do that. I'm pretty sure that's easy. That's an easy make to happen, honestly. So if they don't, that's kind of a weird thing. But I would hope Kid doesn't wrestle in like the middle of I don't know not Colorado. I was about to straight up start dissing Dylan. Like I don't know in the middle of like Oklahoma or something. Like I just hope that
Yo,
doesn't happen for her.
it'd be sick if they randomly were like Spark Joshi in Colorado Springs, Colorado, where there is no independent wrestling. Come on down.
Yeah, you're gonna get to see Kid, not Azumi.
It's just me, and it's like me in hell watching fucking Starlight Kid versus who's a bad wrestler? I don't know. Sumi Sakai again.
Oh god,
She's not
big
bad,
dude.
but she's not good now.
Yeah. Well,
So, and also we started this conversation of that. I think Sumi Sakai is just from the heel work she was doing. She was being really funny, saying she wants the free plane ticket over because she's gonna challenge Saki
Oh yeah,
later.
she was being pretty funny. I will give her that.
But I think there's a little truth to that because she obviously works with a lot of the companies, and if I don't know if I get to tell my stories later about WrestleCon, but she was very much integral to that, and very much integral to the whole 2300 show that we'll talk about. So I think she's just putting together her connections, working as much as possible, and like trying to get her people money and more matches, and be able to sell
yeah.
tickets and stuff like that. Uh, and honestly, if she has to be a shitty heel for all that shit, I guess it's worth it for her and worth it for her people.
I mean, yeah. I guess it's
Theoretically.
just bringing her her impacts to life because she's at fault for some of the worst tours of Japan that we've seen. So,
That's
you
true.
know, And not that this is related, but I know she did get Cameron Burnett booked by Stardom, so she's got very much the pipeline between the two. Yeah, that was Spark Joshi. That was all of the involvement in other shows from Stardom. So we do have the Stardom show to review. Stardom American Dream 2024 in the Keystone State. This did a sold out 976 fans at the 2300 Arena. This was on April 4th for those who somehow missed it. This is a 5-match card, a very short show. I think it only went like 90 minutes, maybe.
I think it was an hour
Fully,
40. Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
so 100.
So very short. They did pack a lot in though, and I think there was some good stuff there. Our opener was Saki Kashima winning the high speed championship when she beat Mei Sarah and Ram Kaichao in 5 minutes with the zombie revival. So Ram threw the cocaine into the eyes of Mei Sarah, and that allowed us to get the revival on a blinded Mei Sarah. The match was comedy, just fully comedy, which is kind of mostly what I expected.
I was laughing until I
And
wasn't.
yes, that's it. Like it was just comedy, and then it ended, and we had a new champ. And I don't know what the hell is happening with this division, and I don't think Taro Okada really cares. So
You
that's
should give the
that's
belt
where
back to
we're at.
Kana.
He should honestly. I feel like we need to get Tayo
Mhm.
out here to be like, give me back what's mine, bitch.
Oh, that would be the best.
It
I,
would.
I, I just said Kana because she
She
probably
No,
designed
kind of
it, yeah.
bad.
yeah,
Kind of
but
bad. Kind of in bad company right now.
I mean,
Maybe,
Kana's
possibly.
definitely not a high speed wrestler these days. But
No.
you know, yeah.
Um,
Actually, why doesn't Seedling have a high speed belt? They have like they like do high speed matches.
because they just
Actual,
like to do comedy stuff with that. So
yeah, but okay.
But yeah,
But yeah,
like
like I said, I was laughing until I wasn't, and then Saki won.
yeah,
And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
it's probably honestly like the best opener they could have done because like as soon as the people walked in, like they were like we were going hype for this, and I think obviously from my brain, from what I was seeing, I was just like, okay, it's obvious like they need to get that belt away from May
Mm.
because of the Suzu tag, and they're already champs. So I think they're trying to spread their wealth with the belts. Because they have that big ass pay per view by the end of the month, so they're probably trying to fill the card out and try not to like collide on the belts. Sadly, we do have like a collision with the red belt and the artist belt, but I think they're just trying to spread their wealth so they could pack their end of the month card. And honestly, this match was fine. It was really fun. I think Saki is like again, I don't know if I could tell my stories later, but I think Saki is the nicest person ever. she's the funniest like motherfucker ever. And honestly, like from this match and from meeting her, I could tell like she is fully on the entertainment thing now. Like she tries to get her pops where she can.
She
And
I hear she threatened a child with Shuri kicking the child because the child was kicking her seat in the airplane.
That's
Um,
fair, honestly.
yeah,
she
no, I
liked it.
don't blame her.
She did the Google Translate and everything. Like yeah.
What were the reactions like for the wrestlers? Who was the most popular? Because I feel like Saki is well liked by the online fan
Oh
base.
yeah, and that's a big thing is the audio on the show was fucking dog
Oh,
shit. So
Oh my
okay.
please
god.
let us know because we did not hear
Yeah,
anything really.
I rewatched this yesterday, and I was just like, "Damn, I understand why you guys were kind of complaining because it was rough on the audio side.
Mm.
Like the
We
commentators were fucked. The
yeah,
music was like too
I didn't even
loud
know
and not
Tom Lawler
blended.
was there. Like Tom Lawler, you could not hear him for the entire
Yeah,
show.
legit,
It's a shame. I
legit.
really like Tom.
Yeah.
And he probably knows more than a lot of other people.
Yeah, literally.
um, but yeah, like honestly, it was really entertaining from where I was sitting and from being in the crowd. It was pretty entertaining. I obviously it was just very much. It was like 5 minutes of comedy and Saki winning, but like there was a big pop and big surprise that she honestly won the belt in America. So
Oh, fair enough, I suppose. The match after that was Stephanie Vacker, Momo Watanabe, and Starlight Kid beating Saya Kamatani, Azumi, and Cameron Burnett. Vacker got the win over Burnett in 9 minutes with her backbreaker. They did a brief preview of Azumi versus Vacker in this one, which was actually pretty good.
yeah,
I thought Cameron Burnett was quite interesting. She showed a lot of stuff that I hadn't seen from her before, and I've seen
Yeah.
her on like NXT Level Up, and she did not have any of this. Like this is all new to me. But she was very interesting in this match. Yeah, I thought they just like cycled through the pairings well enough. They did a bit of Azumi Kid, they did Momo and Saya, then they kind of went to the two outsiders for the finish because Vacker kind of has to win. So it was fine for like a tag, an undercard tag on a Stardom show, you know?
I like Vacker with the weight of time.
Yeah, it fits really well.
I think they're really cool together. That's yeah. I mean, there are highs and lows. I think Kid and Izumi starting was pretty cool. I think it was their first match in America, both of their first matches in America. So them kind of getting to do the Kid Izumi, you know, sequence made sense. And yeah, I thought Cameron wasn't bad by any means. I thought she did pretty well.
Mm,
But generally, I thought the match was pretty mid.
okay, of
In middle of the
course.
road. Middle of the
Fair
road.
enough. Um,
yeah, I thought this was pretty good. And I think the best part was obviously Vacker and Azumi
mm,
because
Hmm.
I think honestly the way they do Oedo and Vacker is like so like it was kind of seamless. Like
Mhm.
they really didn't even try like to like build them up as something, but like the way they come out together and from what I saw, they seem very like friendly with each other. So I think Vacker like really fucks with them. I'll say. Um,
she's a natural heel.
yeah.
It's very easy to her.
Totally.
And yeah, the match was fine. I think Cameron honestly was the worst part because I
Mm,
think at the end her and Vacker. It was kind of not falling apart, but it was you could tell like okay, we need to finish this because we can't do a ton. And I think by the end it was uh Cameron getting her stuff in, and then Vacker headbutting the shit out of her, and it was like, okay, you're done. um, but yeah, like just getting to see the girls was like incredible. Like, and seeing my favorite wrestler in the ring with my two other favorite wrestlers was great. So
Yeah.
Tough. I'm gonna say that a lot. It's one of my go-tos.
It is.
Um, I've never actually seen Stephanie Vacker in person. What's it like? Is she as charismatic as she seems? Star
yeah, so
power,
I
aura.
think besides the Windy City show this Friday, this was my first time watching her,
Mm,
and I thought she was pretty cool. Like, obviously I think we've watched some of her Mexican stuff in CMLL,
yeah.
Yeah.
where she has kind of a better crop to work with instead of doing the American thing. Because I don't think she's done a lot of American dates from what I've seen. Um, so
She's kind of all over the place.
yeah, but like I prefer her way more in like CML, and then
Mhm.
from what the
Yeah.
little stuff she's done so far, I'm pretty much impressed. So like she wasn't like like just oozing aura, but we could tell like she's one of them. Like
She's got a vibe.
yeah, she could
Right.
break the barrier if she really wants to.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, cause she's very stoic. I feel like that either works or it doesn't.
Mm.
But it definitely works a lot better in Mexico, where she's kind of built up. Um, the match after that then was Siri and Konami uh losing to Willow and Saki. I still have to get used to the way they do the thing now. So Willow beat Konami with the Doctor Bomb in 8.5 minutes after a pretty solid match. I said in the preview for this that it was a bit of a stylistic mess, and it kind of ended up being that where Siri Willow thing was okay, but it wasn't the best for either of them. Siri didn't really do much anyway because she was saving herself for the Masha Slamovich draw. And so we just kind of got Konami and Willow mostly, and then Saki would like come in and do some boots. But yeah, it was like fine, but definitely not a great showcase for anyone. I didn't think.
Yeah, I didn't like those.
Okay.
No, I thought it was fine. It wasn't like amazing. But yeah, like stylistically, it just didn't work for a lot of them because we want to cheer for most of these people. So it's
Yeah.
like we can't work heel, and we also can't work like insanely rough, I guess.
They
I
they
thought
can't they can't like go they can't do like they can't do like a high speed thing, like a high
yeah,
energy thing, because none of them are real, are like that.
uh
So you can't just cheer for everybody. Like you feel like you need to. Yeah, it just stylistically it didn't work. I don't think.
yeah. I think Willow and Shuri was like the better part, just because seeing them wrestle was just like okay, like I don't know when we'll ever get to see this again, but it happened. I think Konami and Willow faced before, maybe on the
I think they
Kitsune show.
tagged. I think they tagged
Oh
together.
yeah, they tagged together. Yeah, which honestly that match was probably better than this one, um, in terms of like having kind of the similar people in there. But yeah, like I think honestly, yeah, like this wasn't much. But yeah, like basically everyone should have wanted to get cheered. So that was basically it. It was basically a match just to get everyone on the show and give
Yeah, I
everyone a
feel like
good pop.
I feel like they didn't give the crowd enough of Suri, who is like a really big deal. I feel
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
they gave you nothing to cheer her with.
yeah. In terms of like her getting super spotlight, she didn't get a lot really during the
Mm.
week. Um,
I have a
GCW
take about
obviously,
that. I'm gonna keep
uh,
it for a bit.
yeah.
I have a take.
Obviously, she was on a 30-minute draw, so she had a lot of airtime on that JCW show. Um,
Yeah.
and then she also had that like specific meet and greet for her before the show,
Mm.
which was like it was like kind of like a whole big thing because everyone was like looking for her. Then they had a table set up for her, and then they were telling people to go upstairs, but she was really downstairs.
Oh my god.
And like her, again, if I get to tell my story about how the meet and greets went, they very much were keeping her in one area, trying to keep it quick and compact, and it
Yeah.
was just they treated her like a star still, but I think airtime wise and wrestling wise, she didn't have the best week. I'll say, like the best
No, no.
possible for her.
Yeah, she was kind of forgotten in some elements. But I'll keep that take in the back pocket for the future. Our next match then was Mina Shirakawa, Zaya Brookside, and Mariah May losing to Mayu Iwatani, Momokogo, and Tam Nakano. Tam got the win over Zaya in 12 minutes with a Tiger suplex hold. It was neat to see Club Venus back together. The OG
Yeah.
trio. They had a very short run, but I think that still is very memorable given what it spawned and, the big Mina win and Mariah May's breakout year. The dance had me transported back to when I first saw them and was just like they're slaying the house down. This is godly stuff. And I loved it. I thought the match then was pretty good. They did some interesting stuff. There was a bit of Mayu and Mariah. I thought there would be a bit more. I thought Zaya actually didn't do too bad opposite Tam either. You can tell she's gotten better over the past year or so.
Yeah.
Um, and Mayu is Mayu. I remember at one point just being like, dude, Mayu is so awesome. So yeah, I thought this was a good match. It was neat to see Club Venus back together, which kind of put it above your standard like good house show match. But it was still a good match.
Yeah, I pretty much echo all of your sentiments there. I thought Zaya did like surprisingly well because I've never been a big Zaya Brookside fan. Um, but I thought she did quite well in this, and I thought everybody did very well in this as well. Um, Momokogo had that US buff like I talked about. I thought
Damn
that
right.
was a lot of fun. And yeah, I mean Mayu's Mayu. Like Mayu's the one,
Tam
right?
winning got a big reaction as well. People were very
Yeah, it
into
turns
Tam.
out apparently many American fans like walking the Tam Road.
They believe
I don't
in
know
Tam.
why, but they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she's
Pedro,
good. She's all right, but
I gotta ask, what's it like to see the big dog Mayu Iwatani in person?
She is a demon, I'll say.
Yeah.
She is like obviously there's to be real, I think there's more people over than her. I would say like Tam gets a bigger reaction, Mina gets a big reaction, but like now in terms of now, but in terms for like I think overall, I think everyone knows Mayu is probably the greatest person to ever like step in the
Come
ring. To be real,
on.
like she was like every time she did a move, like she was electric. Um, just like seeing her for the first time. I think this is my first time watching her, so like I was just like in awe. I was just amazed,
Mm.
and like you can see, there's different parts of this match that you can see. Like okay, these people are like cool and shit, but like I'm not the biggest Tam guy, and I thought Tam was a superstar,
Mm.
but I think Mayu is like just the one. She will forever be the one, and and the wrestling speak for itself because she didn't slow down at all in any
Mhm.
of her matches. So
Yeah, she was great all weekend, or all week, I should say. Yeah, I've seen Mayu in person. While I was at the Mini Eve tour, and she is just impressive. It is tell she's on a different level to most people. And yeah, it's just a treat to get to see her. And if you do meet her in the meet and greets, she's so lovely. I think most of the roster is lovely, although I only got to meet four when it was at Eve, but like they're all so nice as well. It's really it's very pleasant experience.
yeah, I got to meet her for like a good minute because the before the Spark show, I don't know if you people have seen, but like they had to get Mayu out of there after the show immediately
Mm.
because she was doing something. I don't want to say where she was, but they had to get her out.
She
So
had to
they did
go
her
and
meter.
watch EO, to be fair.
Yeah,
Her like
probably.
best friend.
Yeah, they probably had like a planned thing because all the girls went to Mania basically, but I think she had a
Mm.
more special ticket or something like that. So yeah, I got to meet her before. I got to meet her for a good minute. She tried to have conversation with me, but this is my only gripe with this man, Mr. Taro, took my phone and was like, "Okay, picture." I'm like, oh, I'm like, she's
Like,
trying
hurry it
to
up,
talk,
motherfucker.
yeah. And I don't blame her because they had to get out of there, and they were like 5 minutes before they were gonna like she had to go and
Yeah.
get ready to wrestle or whatever. So I understood it, but this man took my phone, took the picture, and was like, "All right, go." and
Lee.
and she was so nice. She tried to like start a whole conversation with me and like talk about what I was wearing. Obviously, like out of all people, the swag master, Miss Mayu Iwatani, we tried to talk about clothes, but it just didn't happen. But yeah, it was
So, so
she's
what,
the
what you're
greatest.
trying to say, what you're trying to say is that you are now a Rossi Promotions fan forever because Taro Okada took your phone and stole it and ran away, and that's exactly what you
I
just said.
harass this man every moment I got to see him because I need him to stay on his toes. If he doesn't stay on his toes during the shows, like he's gonna have a
Okada.
problem. Yeah. No, but he was a really nice guy. Again, I don't know if I can tell my stories about
Just go ahead.
what.
Just
Yeah, yeah.
briefly.
So before we get to like the main event and stuff, so I got to do the first meet and greet day for at WrestleCon, and the way they ran the whole thing was very funny because WrestleCon you have to buy a ticket to get in,
Hmm.
and then you also you have to buy the pre-orders for the Stardom stuff. Um, so when I got to like the venue for WrestleCon, they I basically didn't have to buy a ticket. It was weird because I walked upstairs and no one was checking for me. So I was just like, okay, I'm gonna just go to the Stardom thing and get my shit into like now. So I went up to the Stardom thing. You check in with like your tickets or whatever. You get like a card, and then when the girls are ready, you just go up there, hand your card, and you do whatever. You meet them, the picture, and everything. Um, so basically, it costs like 300 for every day if you want every wrestler. So
Damn.
you would have spent 600 and something dollars to get everyone in. So I basically spent like 300 for just that one day because I had time to kill. Sadly, I missed Tokyo Joshi, show, which I had a ticket for, but I had to miss it just because I wanted to meet Momo and all those people.
Valid.
But the way they ran the stuff, okay. So I think two of the like junior referees that knew English and Japanese. To be fair, they were really cool guys, and they had Daichi and Taro on the other tables, trying to like make sure everything goes fine. You can't give like a crazy gift or none of that. From what I saw until later that Micah got beer and plushies and all this other type of shit. But like Taro was like on every table basically, and every time he would be there, I would shake his hand and tell him. I think the one time I told him, I was like, "You're doing a great job. Keep it up." And he said, "Oh, okay." He was like, he understood what I said too. So I wanted every time I seen him, he knew. He's like, "Oh," he's like, "Hey."
That's my guy right
I've
there. That's my guy.
kept him. I tried to keep him on his toes all week because he seemed like he was doing a great job. But I kind of just wanted to harass him all week because people don't think. Honestly, people think he thinks that people don't know him, and it's
we know.
funny. Yeah, and I had to tell him like we know who you are. So I just told him keep it up. I was like, thank you for everything, and I was just trying to be very like friendly with him because like he was working really hard. I told you guys, I think in the Discord, I was like he was working really hard all week. I could see the sweat in his goddamn face. Like he was trying to make sure the girls don't get harassed and they're fine. He tries to make sure like Daichi's cool. The New Japan people that were working with them that day, he had to make sure they were all fine. He was very friendly with the fans and everything. Like he just tried to keep stuff in order, and I praise him because he was there for basically every single moment. They were doing something in terms of like public appearances and wrestling. So like I'll give it up to the guy. Like I know I think our problems with what was with Harada and what all that shit was going on, and like the mix of TK fucking like doing his stupid Rossy bit and crying about shit and double backing on it now. So like I think Okada got tossed in this spot, and I also think he sees where he thrives and where he could definitely offer up his help, and he's trying to create his relationships as he goes. And from what like I'm kind of getting at, like from our complaints still about the promotion and stuff, is that he's kind of busy with a lot of shit. So I think the cards of shows and some of the booking gets kind of like takes a step back for him sometimes.
I mean, there's a reason why he said that he wants to, put in a different booker that's not him.
Yeah,
because motherfucker's busy.
yeah, and I think some shows they're very like sacrificial. Like he doesn't have to put so much shit on the cards. I think as long as he just makes it interesting right now, it's fine. And I honestly I think the past house shows that were happening the past weeks, I thought they were pretty fun. I don't know if he has like the full booking idea or if someone's helping him. Like one of the wrestlers is like, hey, do this, do this. But I think what he's been doing is really interesting, and I think we have our eyes closer on it just because of just everything going on and the Rossy shit and the Giulia shit. And it's a whole bunch of stuff. But like I give my full praise to the team for how they did the whole week, and especially to him because I think people see him as a background player sometimes, and someone who's new, and he's basically the new guy in town for them. So it's like we want to make sure he's doing well, and I just wanted to tell him like, hey, keep it up.
Well, shouts out to young Okada in that case.
Young Okada should get on announcing that Buntai stuff, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, after that match involving is it Club? Oh wow, Mayu Iwatani just got announced for TNA. That's cool.
Yes.
But After that match, we had Toni Storm, timeless Toni Storm, show up,
God.
and she awarded Toni Storm, or not Toni Storm, Mariah May with a bouquet of flowers, and then cut a promo on Mina. You could not hear the promo on the show. Her microphone was
No,
basically muted, which is honestly a net positive given how the timeless Toni
I agree.
character has been. What I did get the gist of was she said the forbidden door is always open to Mina Shirakawa. So they are very clearly going with Mina versus Toni, either at Forbidden Door or earlier. I'd imagine they might hold off on it till Forbidden Door. Because I don't think Mina can be on Dynasty. This might be a bit too close to Buntai.
Well, they're already running Rosa versus Storm on Dynasty
Oh, that's
anyway.
true. Yeah. So it's probably Forbidden Door. I could see Mina showing up on the show because her and Anna Jay are like a thing now. So you could do Anna Jay and Mina versus Timeless Toni and Mariah May on a Rampage or a Collision. To me, so long as you keep Timeless Toni away from Stardom, I don't mind. I hate that gimmick. It is like 2012 WWE levels of bad. I feel like that's, it doesn't get talked about enough how it's just a bad Vince McMahon idea.
It's fascinating wrestling worse on behalf of a mediocre gimmick. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you
and
got when
the
you have to
problem is,
wrestle worse on purpose to gimmick
yeah,
that isn't that good it's an insane theory to me.
she's working down to this gimmick and also taking attention away from other matches because they'll keep cutting
Yeah.
to her and doing the gray screen and she'll keep talking funny and it's like just let me see the wrestlers wrestle. Is that not the point of AEW? Like, are you not meant to be the alternative? I don't want to see camera cuts to the actress, the film noir actress. I don't care. So yeah, keep Timeless Tony away, but Mina versus Tony is a fine enough first match to run for the partnership. Mina can lose. I feel like that's usually my stance. Is Mina is pretty okay if you take L's because she's a baby face. She'll say, "Hey, I'll fight back stronger," and people believe in her. So she can lose to Tony. I'm sure it'll be a fine match. I don't know. I don't trust Timeless Tony in the ring. I don't think she's had many good matches in this gimmick, so maybe not. But if we get some cool tags leading up to it, then I guess that's all you can ask for, really.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
agree.
the Forbidden Door is officially down. We are starting the AWX Stardom thing in full swing. Maybe we'll get somebody cool from AW and the GP. That would be a nice
I just need
trade-off.
Jamie Hayter to come back.
Jamie Hayter, yeah. Or, if they wanted Chris to do a GP or
Yes.
Athena.
Willow. Who?
Athena.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Athena wants desperately to go to
Yeah,
Japan. I feel so
she
bad for
wants
her.
it.
But we'll have to wait and
I
see on that.
I will say real quick, I think the Tony thing is over in a bubble when it's just the entrance and it's her.
Yeah.
But when it's a match, I'm really not interested.
It's terrible.
So yeah,
I do
like
I
she was
do
very
feel like
much
that is a death.
yeah, she's very much over at the show, but it's like it's just a surprise, like that even happening. So
Yeah. I mean, I feel like any AW wrestler could have done a surprise and it would have got a big reaction because it was the shock value. But maybe
Mhm.
not. Maybe it is people are just really into Timeless Tony. I just think it's really bad gimmick. That's all. We then had anyway the main event, which was Micah defeating Megan Bain in just under 15 minutes with the Michinoku driver number 2. This was excellent.
Hammerlock.
Probably
Michinoku driver
the
number 2.
Hammerlock version, yes. Probably one of the best matches of the weekend, if not the best match of the WrestleMania festivities. I guess it depends on where you fall on WrestleMania itself or the Mark Briscoe Samoa Joe match. But I thought
You've
this
done that.
was.
It was Eddie. You texted me. That's crazy.
Oh shit! Yeah, I did that twice. Yeah, Eddie Kingston and Mark Briscoe. Yeah. Because see, I'm still like Samoa Joe Ring of Honor champion. He
oh
is
yeah,
not
me
Ring of
too.
Honor champion. He is AEW champion.
But legit, like Alex texted, I think it was group chat with me, Scott, and Xavi. He was like, "Oh man, that Eddie Kingston Swerve Strickland contract signing was really well done." I was like, "That's not a thing that's ever happened." And he's like, I was like, I think you're mixing up the heavy set Samoan with the heavy set Puerto Rican." And he's like, "Ah, that's my bad." That's my bad.
Yeah, that's a bit of a block. But yeah, anyway, depending on how you feel about those matches, this was like the best match of the week, probably. Um, as I say all the time, Megan Bain, exceptional. She was great here. Her tossing around Micah was such a strange visual. Like I've never seen Micah manhandled like that at all.
Hmm.
And it was interesting to see what Micah would try and pull out to like get back into the match. She did the jumbo finish for a 1 count, and it was like, holy shit. She did that second rope Michi driver where I thought Megan Bain was dead, and that got 2 count. I was like, how on earth is she gonna chop down this monster? And eventually it was with the arm trap version. But yeah, I thought Bain was fantastic here at like tossing around Micah. Micah had a really good performance, like fighting back and pulling out new stuff to really beat her. Yeah, it was really well done. So I one of the better matches of the week, I would say, definitely.
Yeah, I thought this was it was not as good as the Utami match, but it was a bit better than the Saya match. For Micah, I liked it a lot. It was obviously the match of the night for me. I think probably match of the day. What day does it take place on?
This was the
um.
fourth. This was like a Thursday, so
Yeah,
it wasn't.
Thursday.
Oh yeah. So maybe not the match of the day. That was the same day as Nomura and Abe, but it was one of them. That was like very very well done. I thought that like the audio issues and stuff like that kind of took away from like the early going. It felt like it needed more to like build up to like have that energy because there were issues with the audio and because there were issues with the stuff like that that kind of took me out of the first 5 minutes or so of it. But I still thought it was a very very well done match, and then especially once it got going, it was absolutely tremendous. I think that's one of Megan Bain's biggest strengths, is that it's like that second half of a Megan Bain match is always fucking tremendous, right? um so yeah, I enjoy this quite a bit. Like I said, it's probably middle of the road for Micah's reign title matches so far. But I thought it was very enjoyable. Also, Micah letting Megan kick out of the Avalanche Michinoku driver. Taka Michinoku is definitely pissed, but that's okay.
Dude, that one was insane though. Like,
It was.
holy shit. Um, yeah, though, I'm interested in how Micah comes across live. Does she feel like the world champion of this promotion?
Yeah, so like it's a weird thing because I think with a lot of us it's like she got handed this a little like not in the best of ways, obviously, due to like other issues we had last year.
Mm.
But I think she is doing the absolute best she can and wrestling at the highest, like the highest possible way she can, because I think when she walks out and she's out there, she is a star. She's a superstar.
Okay.
I just think they need to give her a little more in terms of like maybe like I don't know, maybe the presentation, because she does everything the best she can.
Mm.
She's incredible. Her entrance theme is incredible. Her look and the new gear on this show was really great.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
That
Um,
was the Divine Kingdom gear.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, was it?
Hmm.
I'm probably lost. No, but yeah, it looked good. It looked good though. So, but yeah, like I think top 5, top 4 match on the week for me. This was absolutely incredible. Like live, like the build up was like pretty like just Megan not like going down,
Mm.
and like the way, but like the way they contrasted that to Micah like killing her on like every move, like that was she was able to pull on her. Like I remember specifically there was a clothesline that looked so simple, but Megan took it all on her neck. Like she bumped so hard for her.
Mm.
And then legit that top rope Michi literally made me jump out my seat. That was legit probably the most incredible like spot of like I've seen probably live. That was just incredible. And like every bump they started taking in that closing stretch was just like absolutely like fucking insane. And like I think it's top, like I think it's right under the Utami match. I think like Dylan said.
Mm.
But it was like it was with this crowd, it made it seem like it was the best match ever. Like
Oh, dude,
legit.
people were hyped for it. It was really nice. Because, I mean, we're so used to Stardom crowds either being badly mic'd for world title matches or not giving a shit. So people losing their minds was like a really nice backdrop for it. Especially for Megan. I feel like her stuff works best when a crowd is like, holy fuck, what did she just do?
Yeah. She was she I think I'll have my gripes with her when she does do AEW stuff, because I think the girls do it the best with her in terms
Mm,
of like the match structure and building up how much like of a monster she is. Because I
yeah.
think when we seen it against her and Tam, it was very much okay. We don't know what's gonna happen, but I think they did well in like their first attempt.
Yeah.
And I think ever since then, the formula hasn't gotten old yet, even in like tags and stuff. I think they do their best to mix it up, and I think this was
Yeah.
probably maybe I think her best outing, really.
Either this or the
Mm.
Giulia one. That Giulia match was insane, though. It's
I do
tough
think
to
that
beat.
I probably have the Julia match or one of them over this. I don't know.
I have them even, I
I
think,
like
at
them.
this point.
Probably.
After the match, then we had a pretty big announcement as Momo Watanabe confirmed that she will be the next challenger for Maika. That will be at the Yokohama Buntai show. Momo went to hit Maika with her bat and was ran off by Megan Bain, kind of continuing a trend they did the other day with Maika protecting Utami from
Mm.
a shot from Momo. So they kind of continued that. And that was the show. Like really short show. Kind of on paper was a one match card, and then ended up being a one match card. But I think it was fun. I think for a big return to America, the live crowd probably got everything they could have asked for. And then for people like me who watch all the shows anyway, it was a neat, replacement for a weekend of house shows, basically.
Yeah, for context, this episode of Storm Quest has already been longer than this show
Yeah.
that we're talking about right
Yeah,
now.
we're gonna have to get on this. I feel like the the limit on the
Yeah, we're hitting it, but
circle is gonna be, yeah, especially
Momo
with three people.
still also true. Momo's still insanely over in the US. Shouts out to her.
Oh yeah, dude, they love her. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
We're
her actually reaction was like incredible. Like I didn't think it was still gonna be there,
mm,
and like people were like legit like screaming, and I was screaming too.
wow.
Legit my favorite wrestler, so I was obviously like I was gonna scream anyways, but like
Yeah.
people there like they remember, and it's amazing to see because I think a lot of us know like she well deserves like her shot, and
Yo, yeah.
maybe the win. Maybe the
We'll
win.
see.
I
We'll
wouldn't be
see.
opposed. Pedro, we will probably kick you off now, um, just to avoid having a third audio track for the last part of the show. I feel like that might um go over our limit for the megabytes. Is there anything you'd like to say before we we part ways?
Kick your ass out.
Wow. Dylan doing me wrong. Uh
I'm
yeah,
joking.
thanks guys for having me on. I just wanted to I wanted to give my input on the show and how my experience went. Uh I have my own podcast obviously. The outlet every other 2 weeks or like every other couple weeks. I will cover these my whole weekend on that show if you want to hear more about my weird experiences and the best matches I've probably seen ever. Um
Mm.
and
Yeah,
yeah,
you got to meet my buddy Nate, who I've known since like we were like 13 years old before I did, and I think that's fucking fucked up. I'm gonna be real.
yeah. I met a lot of cool people and a lot of the best coolest wrestlers ever. So
Yeah,
yeah, it was a fun time. So yeah, thanks guys for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for joining, and thanks for providing a different perspective on everything. It was interesting to hear a lot of that stuff.
very. Thank you very, very much.
All right. I don't want to get into this discussion too much because we really are going to be up against it with
Mhm.
the upload. I wonder if Stardom's going to run into a problem similar to what New Japan did, where they would run in America and these like mid carders would be so over that they almost had like two different rosters. In America, you'd have like this guy challenging for belts because he's like an upper mid carder to that fan base, and then back in Japan he'd be like a nobody. Like the biggest one is Ishii, right? Like Ishii,
Yeah.
everybody be like, give him the world title matches, give him this match, give him that match in America, and then in Japan he's just like a fall guy. And I wonder if we're gonna see that with Stardom with people like Momo, where I don't know where they view Momo, but like the American audience was like, she is a top star to us.
I think that's where Mina's gonna kind of fall into, because like I
Yeah.
know you kind of see Mina as like having I think you see Mina as having way more upward trajectory in Japan than I do. Um, I think
Mm.
she's still gonna be like she's still the co-leader of top faction right now, but like I think that like I don't see her like hitting like moving up to the red belt or even getting the white belt back anytime soon. But I imagine that like she could become like a big deal in America, and it
Yeah.
will kind of have that disparity between the two of them. I don't know if that'll be the case for Momo. I think to some degree I think American fans just remember Momo. You know what I mean? uh,
That
I
might be all
think
you need.
that's where we're at. Yeah,
Well, that'll be something to look out for anyway. I'm just kind of
totally.
interested in that. There are 3 shows this weekend and 2 New Japan events. There's only a card for one of them though. It's this Friday's Korakuen. So we'll run through that and then we'll take a look at the New Japan stuff. So the Korakuen show is Tam Nakano, Saori Ano, and Natsupoi versus Yuna Mizumori, Aya Sakura, and Sayaka Kurara. So that's the tryout match for Sayaka and Kurara. I expect that the big trio will win and they will accept one of the trainees and reject the other one so they can string this storyline out a bit more.
Yeah, I'm so.
I know, I know. I gotta say, this card is very meh. I'm
Yeah,
not loving it. We then have Waka Tsukiyama and Hanako against Starlight Kid and Ruaka. I guess Kid is gonna win in Waka, submit Waka. Maybe Ruaka
yeah,
gets it. I don't know, but
yeah, one of them definitely.
uh, yeah. The match after that then is Saki Kashima and Rana Yagami versus Lady C and Miyu Amasaki versus Koguma and Momo Kogo.
Yeah, this
Um,
card's stinky.
Koguma winning, maybe, possibly.
Um,
Koguma over
I
Rana.
imagine I think Koguma over Kashima makes sense.
Uh-huh. Set
I
up a
think that
high
might,
speed.
yeah.
Okay.
Um, that is something because we obviously kind of talked about a lot. That is something that I'm kind of like about Maycera losing the belt, is that I feel like there could have been a cool tie-in
Oh,
for
they
like
barely did
FWC.
anything though. Yeah, like there was not a lot in that reign. Like there was no Koguma
No,
match, no
yeah,
cool
like
three-way at like a big show where it's just 3
that's what I
wrestlers
mean.
going crazy, like very little.
Is I think Koguma versus Maycera could have been a very fun match that they
Mhm.
just didn't run. I could see Koguma beating Sakakashima, so I don't know if she like for the belt. I mean, so I don't know
Yeah.
if she challenges first. Um, she might and just win it first because Sakakashima can lose like that, but we'll
Yeah.
see. So maybe Koguma over Sakakashima. If not, it's like it's anybody's game to lose pretty much.
Very true. The match after that then is Suzuki, Maycera, and Rian versus Natsuko Tora, Rina, and Fukigen Death. I'm actually really surprised to
So
see
yeah,
Fukigen on here.
Yoneyama's still here.
I thought she would jump ship straight away, but maybe not. I would imagine Rian takes a fall here to Rina, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I
We
mean
then
Rion's
have.
definitely losing.
Oh yeah, of
Unless this is
course.
also unless they also silently gave this is Fukien's last show. Uh,
Maybe.
that'd be very
Yeah.
funny if it was Yoneyama, or not my Yoneyama, Utami, and Giulia. Like those were the three that they kept for one extra date.
As they should, though.
But
To
no,
be
I
fair.
think Rion loses.
Okay. We have Hazuki versus Amisore versus Xena versus Momo Watanabe in a 4-way match.
Why?
I have no idea. Momo
Momo
probably
wins.
wins. Yeah, sure. We have a special tag match. We have Mayu Iwatani and Hanan taking on Giulia and Siri. ALK versus Eye Contact as Julia's last match in Stardom. It's a fun match. I feel like I'm over this goodbye tour. Like, just move
I'm
on.
definitely over Julia's.
I feel like I'm over all of them because we are
I'm
2 weeks away from
I'm
Buntai. Like, get
yeah.
your shit in order. Start building to your big show instead of doing this goodbye tour stuff. But whatever. Yeah, this would be a fun match. I don't actually know how it's gonna go. In an ideal world, Hanan pins Giulia or something, but they probably go to a draw or they have Mayu go over. Or maybe Siri just beats Hanan. I don't know.
I feel like it should be Mayu over Giulia.
You would
Maybe.
think so, but Julia's an NXT superstar now. You know, she got that stand and deliver proud moment. So don't know.
That's true.
We'll see.
My
We'll see.
buddy, I apologize. I know this is I know we're short for time. My buddy just texted me because Katsuhiko Nakajima might be going to WWE. He's like, "Is he
Oh.
any good?" I was like, "Yes, yes, he's very good." And he's like, "Is he stiff?" I was like, "Have you ever seen a stiff?" you, you don't know what this is, but yeah. My over Julia probably. I am kind of sick of this retirement. I actually agree with you. I thought they would have ran like Utami versus Saya. Thought
Yeah,
that would have
yeah.
been
I
like a
don't I
cool
don't really
last
get
match.
the another Aphrodite tag, especially with the Golden Gen. It's like just do something
Yeah. And like
different.
I like it. Like I think it's cool, but like I don't
Yeah.
see the
It's a
need.
shame
I mean,
Azumi
hey,
isn't around because
another great good.
oh yeah, it's a shame Azumi isn't around because a Momoaz versus Aphrodite would have been the best send off.
That
That would have
yes,
been
but
cool.
I don't know if they would want to run that. But no, I agree. I am happy that we get another Saida Korakuen huge tag match though,
That's
because
fair,
she'll
yeah.
fucking
Sai 8
cook.
is gonna go crazy. Ida should win, to be honest. She won't, but that would be funny.
Honestly, Ida finally overcoming Utami would be so good.
Yeah,
Ida over
especially if they're
Utami,
gonna do
that's
something
such a
to
move.
Ida. I don't know how the new regime feels about Ida, but maybe she'll get pushed with them, so she could go over Utami maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that or Utami just wins. Just German suplexes her. So.
Sorry, I blanked out for a second.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway, I don't think I
I
said the match
forget where
yet.
we're at.
It's Micah and Saida versus Utami and Saya Kamatani. That is probably our main
That it
event
is.
of the evening, and a special tag match. So yeah, should be fun, but thing we haven't seen.
Yeah, like I said, I think this is like a place that Ida can really shine,
Yeah.
especially because Utami wants Ida to shine.
Mm.
Usually, like I think that's something that she usually takes a lot of like pride in, is she wants to get the best out of Ida. So if this match is kind of built around more of that than just like the usual Micah versus Utami and the usual Micah versus Saya, I think that would be a lot of fun.
Mm. We can only hope.
Yes.
That's that card. It's not great. I do feel like because we don't know the Buntai card at all, there's no like preview tags. There's no like stuff building up to it. It just feels like they're throwing names on the sheet, which is fine. But for Corkin, I feel like you might want a bit more. But you know, that's what we're dealing with right now. As I say, there was 2 New Japan shows with Stardom involvement this weekend, and I bet you I didn't know about one of them. The first one is on the
Oh yeah,
12th.
Taiwan.
This is Windy
Taiwan.
City Riot in the Wintrust Arena. I believe it's a pre-show match. It's Mina Shirakawa and Viva Van versus Trish Adora and Alex Windsor. Alex Windsor did not lose that loser leaves Eve match that I thought would make her go to America. So that was interesting, but I imagine it's still Trish Adora losing here. Unless Alex Windsor is going to get a push. I
Ye-
don't know. They might push her a bit.
I could see Alex Windsor getting pushed to a title match.
Yeah, her and Vaca would be cool.
I agree, and I think
Yeah.
Alex Windsor could beat Viva Van.
Yeah, that's true. Also, I mean the dream is Alex Windsor and Mayu Iwatani. I think they would kill it. Alex
Yeah,
Windsor is very Joshi
I'm.
coded, to be fair. Like
Yeah, she had that one really great. Was it against Miyu? Wait,
was it
no.
Miyu Watanabe
I don't know. She.
or Rika?
It might have been. I just remember she had a good match or two in TJPW.
Yeah, she was good there, and she's been good in Eve as well. Like I've seen her a good bit in Eve. Her and Charlie Morgan got bloody as hell, so they fucked each other up by the looks of it. So that was fun. Our other match then is a strong women's championship match: Stephanie Vacker versus Azumi. I no longer know where this belt is going because Mercedes Moné is challenging for the TBS title, and I thought she would just win this one, but I guess not. Unless they just put both
Yeah,
belts
I
on her
mean,
like they did with Eddie Kingston, where he had 3 at once. Maybe they do, but yeah, Vacker's retaining anyway. But my vision for this belt is a lot less clear than it used to be.
yeah, same. Azumi's trying to make it the Belt Without Borders and get
Mm,
a match with Giulia after she leaves, which I think is very funny.
incredible.
But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this match. Obviously, this is the reason why I bought tickets for the show.
Yeah.
Um,
You'd
so yeah,
imagine
I'm super
Vacker
excited.
wins. It's hard for Vacker to lose when she's
Yes,
has 3 belts at once. Like CMLL is all in on her at the moment.
very true. And but the thing is that CMLL isn't unless well even so. The thing about CMLL is that because of their whole 2 out of 3 falls thing, they aren't as difficult to get pins over, except for Mystico.
Yeah, I
If you
feel
don't
like a
pin
top
Mystico,
name like her is different because she's
that's
like
true.
the most pushed in that women's division right now. So
She
it's
did
hard
just
to.
get pinned by Willow. That's what I mean. Is that like in a definitive uh third fall type of thing.
Mm. Was that her?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Reina. All right.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
it was Willow. It was
all
Willow
right.
over Stephanie.
I still don't think it's Azumi anyway that would beat her. That's kind of the other
No,
thing. Yeah.
no, but I will
Mm.
pop hard for that Azumi Sushi. You know
That's
what's up,
fair.
bro.
I mean, it should be a good match. They did a good exchange, I think, in the pre-show or the prelude tag. It was very high speed, so I don't know if that's the
Hmm.
pace they're going to work because I know Vacker or as well. So I think we'll just have to see there. But yeah, that should be fun. And that's the only Stardom representation on that. I would imagine we'll see Stardom on the AEW shows in some form, maybe in Ring of Honor again. I could see Mina being in an angle, as I said earlier, with Anna Jay and facing Tony and Mariah, maybe on Collision. Well, this is Saturday, and that's
This
also
is the day of
Saturday.
Collision. Wait, no, this is
How?
Friday.
Where
This is Friday. This is Friday.
is it?
Yeah.
Well, it could be Rampage or Collision because they tape
Yes.
Rampage anyway. But we'll just have to see there. The other Stardom match on a New Japan show is the Waker presents Wrestling World 2024 in Taiwan in the Zepp New Taipei. This is Hanako versus Starlight Kid. So fun.
Main event in any arena.
Hell yeah. And that's
It's
all
actually
we
for the
know.
Spark World Championship.
Yeah. That's all we know because there's 2 house shows, one in Numazu, one in Shizuoka, but they haven't announced anything. Mina and Azumi won't be on them anyway. And yeah, then next week as well, it's house shows. They're in Osaka Edion 2 and Kobe. So I don't know what they're gonna do there. We are a week then away from All Star Grand Queendom at Buntai. So may not feel like it, but we do have a big,
And
big
then
show on
Golden
the
Week.
horizon. Yeah, we have a lot on the horizon, but they're very slow to get with it. So next week we will probably have to spend a lot of time on the Rossy promotion, but we'll definitely touch on the Korakuen, and we will discuss with the New Japan show and any AEW appearances from Azumi or Mina. But I would imagine our focus next week will be on Rossy unless we do a special show the day he announces, depending on when it is. Like if it's a Saturday or Sunday, probably not. If it's Friday, Dylan won't be here, so we'll have to hope that Rossy is on our side there. But yeah, that's the show. I've probably rambled a bit, but we got there.
We did. We are
A lot of
here.
wrestling over the past week. My goodness.
Yeah.
WrestleMania week is an experience. I
And
don't like
somehow
WrestleMania week as a viewer.
Oh
It's just
no.
bad production. I'm overwhelmed. There's too many matches. I'm like, this is not fun. To
Well, you
attend, it's
see,
probably great, but to
The
watch.
only Mania weekend I was meant to attend was the 2021.
Oh, damn.
So I just haven't been to a WrestleMania weekend.
Right. It's probably a lot better like being there. It's just to
Yeah,
watch with all the bad production and wrestlers wrestling 10 matches so they don't try as hard. um, it's not as good. But this
I
year
mean,
was somewhat interesting.
for me, like obviously there were some good Joshi matches, but I think the two matches that I loved the most, they were not Joshi matches. One of them was, like I said, Takuya Nomura and Fuminori Abe just doing the most
Oh yeah.
effortless, great match I've ever seen. Where it's just like,
Hmm.
yeah, we're just gonna do like we're just gonna like do the thing and then we're gonna do good. And then Gunther versus Sami Zayn for some reason was tremendous. So you know for me, Mania weekend, it was all right. It was all right.
Yeah.
But I do think that everything kind of because, like you said, it's kind of so much. It kind of takes down some of the vibes of some of the matches and some of the shows.
Yeah. I thought people had learned their lesson years ago when like the Lucha Bros would work 20 matches and not try in any of them, but apparently not.
Mhm.
But you know what? As long as Joshi Wrestling is there, we will look at it and hopefully they get more and more cool Joshi involved. Um, but yeah, we'll be back next week or maybe sooner, depending on when Rossy announces his thing. I will
It'll
hope
probably be this next week, unless
probably,
that
yeah.
thing is fucking like tomorrow. Then
I imagine it will be after the Korakuen. So
yes,
yeah.
that's what I heard.
But yeah, that's that. We'll be back next week, as I say, to run it all down. And with that, it is time to close the show. So if you want to stand, you may stand. If you want to sit, you may sit. Believe today, shine tomorrow. You decide what you believe in. Ijo.
Yo.